Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Timothy Liu.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks. Do I actually need this? Do I need it? Yeah, I need it? Yeah, okay. All right, great. All right, good morning, everybody. So, just a little bit of introduction. Today, I don't know how you follow that. Marcus, this is an incredible presentation. I learned so much myself. I don't know how to follow that. Can we give another round of applause to Marcus, please? All right, I think let's set some caveats. I'm not a professional trainer. I'm basically here to share sort of one of the experiences that I've picked up in my 21 years in the business. Sort of things that we do every year is we sort of come up with a list of trends in retail that we see are actually going to affect or fundamentally change what retail is about. So today I'd like to share that with you. So today, I think very simply, I just want to outline with you what's the current market situation like, what we think are the 5 fundamentals of retail and how we can actually sort of, as community pharmacy owners, what are the things that you really need to be looking at going forward, because things are changing so rapidly. In fact, whatever we said here, maybe may not even be useful in the next 3 to 6 months with what happened in the US tariffs and so on and so forth. So as you can see, the retail segment is actually a very dynamic segment. So those of you who are in the community pharmacy space now, if you're working outside of the government, you really see things changing very, very quickly. All right, and of course, come to some key conclusions that we can take from today. All right, so what the current market segment, right? I think all of us can see that from the news reports that things are going great for 2025, at least in the first half of the year. Let me give you some data on that. Basically, in the first half of the year-on-year retail trade growth grew 5.9% to 65.2 billion. So that's a very big number. Of course, that's driven by most of the festive spending. We had Christmas, then moving to Chinese New Year, and then Raya. All right. But what's happening next is that for the second half of the year, we actually see some of the issues. Number one, there are no big celebrations from now until the year end. All right. And very simply, that's also going to potentially dampen consumer spending. And you have things like, we are not sure when this is going to happen. You have things like your rationalization of your fuel subsidy, which is coming supposedly middle of the year. But again, not sure. Maybe end of the year now. I heard some rumors. All right. We also have a potential tariff increase for electricity. All this means is going to be external pressure on the consumer spending, which means that it could be a very slow second half of the year for all of us. All right. So I think in 2025, this is the real question that I want to try to answer today. Is physical retail still important? And is it still relevant today? If you are purely selling online, can you survive by just doing that? Or do you actually need to be physical? Or do you need a good mix of both? All right. So for that, I think there are actually some of the AI and retail fundamentals which I think all businesses need to be looking at, not just community pharmacy owners like yourself. I think these are the few retail fundamentals which we think are crucial to sort of move forward or at least help you to thrive and succeed in 25. First one being, of course, digital integration of physical retail. Now, in a recent YouGov survey, they did this in Hong Kong. Out of close to 60% of the respondents from the survey indicated that they are going to use AI for their recommendations and evaluations when they make purchasing decisions. So this actually means that your consumers are already online today, and the shopping journey actually starts online. So that's why we are actually putting down here, omnichannel is the way to go. Now, of course, omnichannel is a very big word. It's basically a lot of people are telling you offline to online, online to offline. So what it actually means that your shopper's journey actually starts online today. None of it happens just by visiting the store, but actually a lot of them do their research, especially when it comes to things like supplements or even potential medications. They fire up ChatGPT and they just say, what about this medication kind of thing? They become their own doctor. And so I think it's very, very important then as you as pharmacists being there to sort of guide them, because a person like me can do all kinds of research and think that I know, but actually I think we all know that professionals actually know better. And that's where too much data, too much knowledge is also dangerous, because they start being their own doctors, right? They start telling you, I think I need to take this, and it's totally off. So, but at the end of the day, what's really important here is that as community pharmacy owners, you need to start looking at what is your digital footprint. if you have a physical retail store, and if you are purely selling your products online, you need to see, can I come back into the physical world? Because that's equally as important, because there are very big advantages for you having a physical retail space. All right, so what are the technologies that you can actually start looking at if you are actually being in the store? One of the biggest issues that I see my clients tell me all the time is basically that they can't hire workers. They can't hire workers. In fact, so things like self-checkouts, QR codes, RFIDs. QR codes was basically a pariah technology. Before COVID, no one took QR codes seriously. But once COVID happened, QR codes became so used so often. Nowadays, anybody sees a QR code anywhere, they take out their camera already. You don't even know what it's for, right? But generally, you can see technology. In fact, for our client here, Jaya Grocer, they came to us with a simple issue. Their issue was they couldn't hire enough cashiers. So we would design a store with 8, 10, 12 cashiers, but in reality, only 4 are being used. Because the rest of the cashiers were pointless. So we looked at a lot of technologies. We looked at things like smart cards. We looked at a lot of different technologies. And ultimately, we landed on self-checkout because, number one, it was the least risk to the customer in terms of customers stealing things. Secondly, we didn't need a highly trained person to help them to operate because the system was quite automated. All customer need to do is take the product, scan it, put it inside, put in the basket, and then one guard keeps looking at them to make sure that they scan everything. So I'm not saying that self-checkouts are the be-all of all technology, but in certain places, you can actually deploy them very effectively. RFID is great as well, but that is if the product comes embedded with RFID. So you see a lot of this happening now in Uniqlo, Decathlon, and you think, hey, why can't we actually use that in my pharmacy, right? Yeah, that's because the product manufacturer is not embedding it. With Uniqlo and Decathlon, it's actually done at the factory. So it's already centrally done for them. So it just delivered to the store. That's how they're able to deploy it. Actually cannot, because sometimes if your medication come in foil packaging, you put a RFID tag on it, the RFID tag won't read. All right, so there are a lot of things that we need to educate, and sometimes it's not really suitable. But maybe for high value items, yeah, possibly to use RFID technology. So that I can see, very interesting as well. Some of your keynote speakers yesterday were sharing how actually, RFID is starting to being adopted in hospitals and of course rolling out to actually help customers to track medication usage and all that, and authenticity, right?
Introduce you today to a company that we're working with called Mofi, where we've actually looked at their products and we've actually seen that their modular construction methodologies for constructing retail outlets could sort of increase your project construction timeline. That means you can get your outlets out faster. But I think they also can reduce costs, where you sort of reduce the amount of custom built furniture that you have to put in, and also that it offers a lot of flexibility in terms of changing the space, which is something that you want to do in order to prevent your retail space from looking a bit boring or a bit stale after a while. So Mofi actually takes its name from modular fixtures.
So robotic solutions, yeah. So these are some things. Yesterday I also heard that UAE is starting robotic dispensing from their pharmacies, and it's good to see that, because in UK or Europe, basically they're starting to use robots in these grocery stores, not to actually take stock, but basically to actually look at areas where the product is not correctly displayed or the product is stock out. I think as a market share, he hates to see empty shelves, right? Yeah, you also don't want to see empty shelves in the supermarket. So they're starting to use this already. The purpose of this at the end of the day is to increase the productivity of workers, not to replace them. Because what the robot does, he'll take stock. At the end of the day, he'll tell you which product is not there, or which product is wrongly displayed or in the wrong location. It still needs a human to intervene. So the robots are not going to take your job, but we can use these technologies to make our workers in the store superstars, all right? To be, as Marcus said, better salespeople. All right, and so the